Hello everyone, I'm Bra Mithra. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different. This is going to be, I've been writing stuff to talk about scripts and things for other videos, but for this video specifically, think of it as it's things I wanted to talk about, but didn't want to make those other videos really long. So this is going to be my 3 favorite things that I would like to see expanded upon in the future of Kingdom Death that the year 2024 brought us. So there'll be another video with myself and the Aluminum Man. We'll do our year in review, covering everything that happened in 2024, talk about all the Kickstarter updates again, go over all the releases, all those kind of things, just things that, may have gotten lost in the shuffle of talking about the broader things, and there's just more little things that we really liked about the year. So that will be a long video. I've already written all the stuff for that, and these are things that we've talked about, or at least I've talked about sharing the script that I wrote that would take up way more time. So these are my 3 favorite things released from white boxes or beta in the year 2024 that I think will have long reach into the future of Kingdom Death, or at least I hope it will. These are not white boxes entirely. They could just be one piece of gear, one thing that came from it. Some of them, since the essence of beta is just one thing, they will just be the entire beta thing. And then I've got some things that are just nice improvements that we saw to Kingdom Death as a whole that were released this year that just add things to the game, or make it, sturdy it up. So I have 3 of those, and then my 3 favorite things. So we're going to start with the 3 honorable mentions, just things that are neat, that show that they didn't forget about old mechanics, or that they're willing to update old mechanics via keywords or just straight up new things. So in the year of 2024, Kingdom Death saw the release of the white box Morgan. Morgan she added a character card. I've talked about it. Morgan has a video going all about it. She was also included in the Survivor bundle for Black Friday and everything. But in her entire purpose of her white box was to basically expand upon saviors. We don't get very many savior things. Savior-focused things. You can't even get saviors via the Arc Intimacy at all. They seem to be mostly relegated to just being people of the Lantern now. So, via this character card, you can at least get saviors, or, a savior, because she introduces a new savior color, which is neat. So it's just cool to see. Hopefully we get more savior updates. I would like to see an intimacy table for people of the Lantern just updated in general, or just regular Survivor intimacy table just updated in general, or something to do with saviors. But it's just neat that this year we saw something savior focused. So I want to call that out. Really, that's really cool. And again, these are honorable mentions, so I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail. The next was the 10th anniversary Survivor reprint. Happened in 2024, and that took old white box content and updated it with the seed patterns when it used to be insight patterns. Now, I don't know if they're going to do this for every single one, but the 10th anniversary survivors are one of the better versions of insight patterns because of the amount that you get, plus they're all based to just work in the core game. They're also really nice, but then in addition to that, just them being updated, they also redid some of the wording and then updated them to 1.6 as well, because one of the patterns now uses the new spear that's 1.6. So that's really cool. That's been promised to be in the next card pack, at least these seed patterns, this upgrade versions of Insight to Seed patterns. So it's great to see that they're willing to go back and update old stuff, even if it is in a reprint, but still to add it to the card pack, which we don't know if it is 100% for sure, but the Kickstarter's comments and the Q&As did say that it would be. So hopefully all that stuff is in there. That's just cool. Want to highlight that as well. And then the 15th anniversary survivors that were just recently released on Black Friday themselves updated a keyword for something that we've had in the game for a very long time via Timeless Eye had it, which is increase the range of your perfect hits by 1. That is the thing that is what Timeless Eye says. There's also a Gambler's Chest Knowledge for Deadism. It's like Dead Eye. I forget exactly what it is, but that has the same exact wording as Timeless Eye. Increase the perfect hit range, or increase the range of your perfect hits by 1. The Aya Armor also has increased the range of your perfect hits by 1. That has just been consolidated into the keyword Perfection. It's a great keyword. It came with 15th anniversary survivors. It's just a great keyword because keywords are easy to remember. What makes a good keyword, in my opinion, is when you look at it, you know exactly what it does, right? You don't need to look it up. Some of the ones that are different are, for example, like persistence. Not a great keyword because you have to. I always forget what it is. And then there's like persistence, and then the other one that gives survival. But perfection, there's no question. Perfection's just great, right? It just, Perfection X is going to increase the range of your perfect hits by 1. It also makes this very lengthy thing, right? So for the Aya stuff that was released at Gen Con, for example, it's a great ability to put on a piece of gear, but putting that on a piece of gear, increase the range of your perfect hits by 1, takes up a lot of space. It's like the Barbed, when Barbed in 1.6 became a thing that freed up all the, on a perfect hit, your attack gains plus X strength, like Barbed cleared that all up. So Perfection's great. I hope they go back and they fix Timeless Eye, they fix the Dead Eye, the Deadism knowledge, whatever it's called. I think it's Dead Eye. Give it Perfection. I guess you don't need to give the Aya gear Perfection because you're not going to add a new ability to it, but it's just great now that we have this keyword. So those are the honorable mentions. They're not like huge things to talk about, but let's talk about the things that I do want to highlight that were introduced in 2024, which hopefully we see way more of, and I'll explain why. So my number 3 thing that I really like this year is the Settlement Event extension that was in the Phoenix Costume Beta. Basically, it's a new settlement event, but it doesn't go into the deck, which is great because the beta, they don't have rounded cards, and the betas aren't completely done, but this is neat because it's a settlement event extension. So it's almost like a settlement location extension that we got in 15th, but it's not. It's a full card. It's not just a small little thing, but it acts the same. It's when you like the settlement event extension or settlement location extensions like 15th and Giga Lion, they're just like another small little thing. And then when you upgrade, you get another innovation, or you do this thing like kill Giga Lion, you do that, and then it upgrades your Caterium. You get this Bloomery innovation, then it upgrades your blacksmith location. So this is the same idea, same concept. This is if the Phoenix is picked during the settlement event hunt reenactment, use the settlement event extension in place of the default table of the settlement event. Now, I've talked all about this. I've already made a video on this. I don't want to go into the whole thing about how this actually works or whatever, but just these settlement event extension. The concept of this is great. I hope we see more of this. When you get some settlement events, I'm saying all settlement events should have this, right? Some of them are very straightforward, like I'll just use Skrell, for example. Skrell's a very straightforward settlement event. That was a white box where it was just pictographs yes or no, and then you get the innovation. Another one that's very straightforward is like the new ones in Gambler's Chest, Birth and Death. Those are very straight. Those don't need stuff like this. But you could see that's where it gets interesting, right? Because those are the perfect organs and stuff. You do perfect organ, perfect hide, perfect what's the other one? Perfect bone. So those 3, when you do birth, and then they each give it a thing. You could have one for that, which does maybe a savior or something, like a perfect iron, right? Because perfect iron is a thing. Perfect scrap, just stuff like that. Then you add a little extension. Other ones that have like notorious things that you could go back and update without actually updating, kind of like how Ark Survivors updated Murder. They just replaced the entire whole thing with a whole new event. you could do one of these in like a living card pack for like Plague or something, right? If Plague is drawn these Lantern Years, use the Settlement Event extension for Plague, right? Or that way you're not adding new cards, you're not replacing entire settlement events doing this whole new thing. You're not adding new cards would make, when you add a card, say like the perfect example is like the Snow or the Story in the Snow that came in the card pack, or the Dark Seamstress that came in the card. Putting those in your settlement event deck just makes the settlement event deck, it alters the probability of everything, because now you're just throwing those in. You could have like a 30 card settlement event deck that you're not drawing exactly what you need, or unless you use Scout Lantern or something, then you're just filling those out. Like so like doing that, adding a whole new settlement event in just to make it tosses up all the probability, messes with the whole game and everything. But these extensions, you would still have Plague in there, but you could just have an extension in the card pack that says, oh, let's get rid of having Plague being drawn in the first 5 years. And we'll do that via this extension, right? Doesn't alter the probability, doesn't do anything to the actual randomness of Plague, doesn't alter the game balance or anything, because you're just doing an extension. All you're doing is fixing one little thing about getting it in the first 5 Lantern Years, which can be campaign ending. So, for example, just stuff like that. That's why I think these, and you could do fun things too, not just saying you could fix problems. You could do fun things too, like murder. Maybe if you had 2 Marrowists together, you could alter what murder is to like a rival or something. Stuff like that, right? This is such a cool idea. The one that they gave here with is very hyper specific. I talked about it in the rules. The way you would even want to do this also is kind of fiddly, because it's so hyper specific on being Hunt reenactment, and then also picking Phoenix, and then also needing Timeless Eye on that. So it's very fiddly. Not fiddly. It's very hyper focused on what it is trying to do. But this concept is great, and I really like it, and I hope we see more of it in the future. So this was my number 3. Number 2 thing that I hope we see more of in the future is from Survivors of Death 1, not the entire box, just Survivors of Death 1, the Ecstatic Dance. So, Ecstatic Dance is the 16 CC. Now, it's weird to say this, because this is actually the first time we've gotten like knowledges in a white box, kind of. But specifically how this one was handled, right? I know, because we're getting Gatherism and stuff where there are new philosophies that will add knowledges. You can also just have new Wanderers will add knowledges and stuff. But this way, the way this one specifically added it is why I want to talk about it. This was the 16cc reward, right? This isn't just a new number that you just add to your list of CC gain to add to your settlement. This is a 16. 16 is your node 2 quarry. So when you're building your entire deck, you'll have multiple level 16 CC rewards. Currently it's Smog and Antelope, and then now you'll have this, the Ecstatic Dance, which is great, because it gives a way of, even so in the future, because this Flower Knight and Spooter are also node 2 quarries. They currently don't have any CC rewards, so you'll always use this, but it's not limited to just if you don't have one, use this. So with Ecstatic Dance, for example, it's still really good, the knowledge itself. So like the level 1, the Freeform Dancer is the name of the knowledge. The Ecstatic Dance is the CC reward. So Freeform Dancer is the name of the knowledge you add from the CC reward Ecstatic Dance. So when a monster attacks with a ranged attack, which, this is very campaign specific right now. So Smog Singers do rage attacks quite a bit. And if you didn't want to use the Smog Singer knowledge, you could use this and still use Smog Singers. And then level this up a lot for Smog Singers. Because currently, this is very like Gambler's Chest centric or new monster centric, this specific knowledge. But the fact that they introduced this might mean they're going to go back to old stuff. Besides just COD, right? Obviously COD will do it. But maybe in the next card pack, maybe they actually make some of the things that should, because there's plenty of examples in the original game outside of COD, in the core game itself I'm talking, that have that have things that probably should be ranged attacks or synchronic attacks. Synchronic attacks specifically for Kingsman, almost that entire deck should be a synchronic attacks. But for range attacks and stuff, you can have like Tyrant. Sometimes like Butcher has some that should probably be synchronic attacks. I think it's like the Zone of Deaths where it makes single attacks against everyone. I think there's like a reaction. I think the other ones, I forget what they are, but Phoenix also has one or two that should probably be a synchronic attack. Hand has one or two that should probably be a synchronic attack, like when he lines up, everybody in the line gets hit. And this Freeform Dancer works against synchronic attacks. Also works against ranged. There's a lot of monsters that have attack from a distance, but they're not actually ranged attacks because ranged attacks was added in the expansions and stuff. Like Manhunter has ranged attacks. But anyway, the point is you can use this against Smog Singers, and it's really good. So it gives you an alternate Node 2 for your entire game, right? Whereas if you were to just add this and toss it in a CC reward, or if it were to be its own number, see, imagine if they had like, I forget what the numbers are exactly, but we'll just say X. They just deemed X, whatever number it happens to be, we'll just say it's 17 for the argument, but anyway, X number CC reward is just the white box, or the era that we feel this is in, and then all white boxes get shuttered into this X tier reward. So they're always all white boxes we get forever will just be the 17 number or whatever it is. That's one way they could have approached it. This way is much better. I feel this way is much better because it keeps your curve the same, and it keeps the balance of the deck the same, and it rounds out your choices, right? It gives you more freedom to what you want to do, right? Maybe you just don't want to use the Smog Singer knowledge and you'd rather use Freeform because it works great in Smog Singers. Maybe you don't want to use the Lope one, so you put this in because you're playing with Manhunter and in the future, Tyrant. You could have you get a Manhunter and Tyrant together currently, but in the future, because you're using Kingsman and that whole deck should probably be synchronic strikes, stuff like that. So because of the way this is worded and the way this was handled, I really hope we see more of this in the future. So that was my number 2, variability in the CC rewards and giving a generic Node 2 knowledge. So really great. So the number 1 thing, I think I've mentioned this when I reviewed it, and it's still going to be number 1. I get asked, I'm very active in the community, like the Discord and stuff, the fan communities for Kingdom Death. I always get asked what's like my favorite thing or things that definitely need to be added to the game, and this year we saw it. In May or April, I want to say, we got Bjorn, the beta, which was the Bitter Beast Cloak, which is an accessory for the chest. So, accessory for the chest location. So you can still wear your full thing. This is just it's an item accessory. So you can get your whole whatever set you want to make. This will go with it. It is when the monster deals damage to your body hit location, it gains a Blight token. And then what a Blight token does, Blight token is a token representing the debilitating effects of a festering poison. After a monster's hit location deck is shuffled, so it doesn't need to be the trap. You can shuffle. There's ways you can shuffle the hit location deck yourself. Phoenix can do it. There's other. I think it was like Blue Lantern or whatever. There's other things you can do to trigger a shuffle. Spear's specialization can trigger a shuffle. There's things you can do, not a bunch of them, but there are things you can do to trigger a shuffle. So after a monster's hit location deck is shuffled, archive all of its Blight tokens and roll 1d10 for each token archived. So if you have, say you got hit in the body 5 times before the deck was shuffled, that would have 5 Blight tokens, and then it's discard them all when it's shuffled. Now you're going to get 5d10 for each 6+ rolled. The monster suffers a wound. So this is a way of dealing a wound to a monster without drawing a hit location, which is what makes Devastating so good, Savage so good. Whenever you're not going to that hit location deck to do a wound, that is good. It's not why I like this. I'm not saying that Devastating and stuff and Savage is much better for the game than Devastating is. Persistence much better for the game than Devastating is. But I'm just saying this is good. This is the reward for wanting to do the incentive of getting auto wounds without going to the hit location deck. The incentive for wanting to do this is good, right? That is a good one. It might be a little bit too good, but it is very good, right? There's probably other things you could do with this concept, but I'll talk about what it is. So now that I've explained blight tokens and how you get them, it's when you get hit in the body while using this accessory. There's affinities for it, but this concept, right? Currently, evasion is king in Kingdom Death, right? Not just because getting hit, not to be John Madden, scoring a touchdown is how you win football games, but not getting hit is very just good, right? You don't have to deal with anything, right? Not getting hit is good. It's obviously, right? So evasion is good. You never want to get hit. And if you just never get hit, or dodge, or block, or deflect, that's just good in general. So doing a wound for getting hit in the body location, right? There has to be a very good incentive. A wound is a good one. That is a very good incentive. There's probably other things like flinch tokens are very good, right? If you did the same exact mechanic and it 6+, the monster got flinch tokens, that'd probably be just as good as doing a wound because flinch tokens let you just ignore a reaction, right? Or knocked it down or something like that. There's a lot. The price for getting hit is pretty steep. Not just because, one, you're taking damage, right? But two, because after hit, after damage, before damage, those are all still going to trigger if you're not just outright evading, right? And that's what will kill you. Those are far more deadly than just the damage, right? Like bleed tokens, you can only get so many. Just severe injuries triggering from after hit stuff. Usually, like the lope will just consume you even if you get hit at once at all. So you can't just go super hard on damage soak with this. And because of the update, I know I included the update for 10th anniversary, but the old meme cat eye circlet, the upside down cat, the reverse cat eye circlet, where you could roll hit locations and then store them off to the side and then sub in the hit location rolls. That worked really well with this. It's gone now because of the new one's updated to reroll tokens. But either way, still incentivizing and this is body. Body you can get hit pretty often. But if there's more ways of directing to the certain specific location you need to go to, right? Cross-arm block fighting art is a good example of how if this was if this was an accessory for gloves and you cross-arm blocked into this, that's a whole build right there, right? That's amazing. The other thing, now we haven't seen anything else that does this, but Smog Singers are just going to get absolutely destroyed with this. That's just what vibration damage is going to do. Hopefully, vibration damage doesn't become like a thing for more monsters. Otherwise, we're never going to see stuff like this in the future because you could just assign all of it to your body 1 damage at a time. So it's unlike, say, because it's when the monster deals damage to your body hit location, right? So if you get hit for 10 damage, like the Croc, the 21,000 Newton bite, if you get hit to the body for 21,000 damage, you're getting hit once. It's only going to get 1 token, and you're still going to take the 21,000 damage, right? Not saying that that's ever likely, but it's the funniness. That's the most extreme example I can give. But still, the 21,000 damage is still only 1 hit and 1 instance of damage. Whereas vibration damage, you resolve each damage trigger 1 at a time, right? So you could just ping your body. Say you take 5 vibration damage. You just ping your body 5 times. That's going to give all the Smog Singers 5 of these tokens. Then you heal yourself or something, consume something, and then assign 5 more. That now they've got 10 tokens. So vibration damage is unfortunately now baked into the game and could take this away from us, right? They may never, if in the, say right now, they're changing Spooter to do vibration damage, right? Which is it's possible, it could, There could be other instances of the more vibration damage we get in the game, the less likely we're ever to see this stuff. And that's a shame because damage-soaked tank builds are never going to be around. This is the only way we're going to get them. And hope right now, vibration damage being persistent in the game is the barrier because you can just choose to hit your body one at a time, giving tons and tons of tokens. But with that aside, maybe this comes from a Node 2 quarry, and we don't have to worry about that because you won't have smog slingers in the game. So either way, the game needs an alternative to evasion tanking, right? And I'm lumping in deflect tokens and block and dodge are still evasion tanking. Just not getting hit, right? There's no damage soak in Kingdom Death. Here's a path forward for what damage soak could look like. And I'm not saying it needs to kill the monster with auto wounds. You could do flinch tokens. You could do tokens that you can spend to knock it down when you're attacking or something like that. Like Pulse Lantern, you could make it so it gains like some kind of knockdown token, and then you can expend a knockdown token when you're attacking to knock down the monster on a d6. You could have a whole different new token that this would give. I know it sucks to have two things where it's like this gives a blight token, and then then when you reshuffle the hit location deck, it gives knockdown tokens. These are what knockdown tokens do. That sucks, but I'm far more liking the fiddliness nature of it to have a version of damage soak in the game. And I hope we see some viable reason to ever want a damage soak. Again, vibration damage and any of those attack triggers, after hit, after damage, before damage, all of those triggers are just incentives to just never want to get hit. And until damage soak becomes a thing, unfortunately, evasion taking and blocking is just all we're ever going to do. And that's just going to be the game, and it's going to be continually unbalancing evasion stat. So that's it. I think these are the most interesting things added for Kingdom Death in 2024 that I hope we see into the future. Again, I've got more videos coming. I didn't talk about the Christmas release. I will talk about it. That video is also probably coming. The video might even be out before this one comes out. So all that stuff will be talked about. Spoilers, they wouldn't have made the list. The new things that from that Atlas release. I know we're going to see more of it in the future, but it is what it is for now. They wouldn't have made this list, but I will talk about it. That video will be out. And then the whole recap, 2024 recap, Kingdom Death 2024 recap with Aluminum, we will have that up probably also next week. So, happy holidays, everyone. Hopefully you all had a good time. Happy New Year, and I'm looking forward to the bright future of Kingdom Death in 2025.